Hello everybody, welcome to a brand new Let's Play series in Hearts of Iron 4 Calm Before the Storm. Today we're going to be playing as Germany, because last time we did play as the Soviet Union. Today we're going to play as Germany. We're going to try to go down a democratic path, if that's an option, and I'm hoping that it is. Otherwise we'll just play as the kind of, historical path. But for right now, Germany in peril. No matter who you ask, Germany is in danger. Whether it's a threat of the left, right, or in the center, there's always a threat. This is the cause and the product of instability that's lasted for 14 years, from the end of the Great War to this new year. On 11 November 1918, the German Empire surrendered to the combined forces of the United Kingdom, the Third French Republic, and the United States, ending 4 years of bloody trench warfare. The subsequent revolution has brought down the Kaiser and established a republic, while at the same time leading to the downfall of the old communist movement in the country. The Treaty of Versailles, which entirely neutered the military and subsequently occupations and economic hardships, culminating in the hyperinflation crisis of 1923, has led to the rise of both the far left and far right movements. We have been plagued by political assassinations, the machinations of influential figures, internal coups, and now the Great Depression. At the helm of our fragile republic sits the great Paul von Hindenburg, the hero of the Great War. General Hindenburg has been granted sufficient powers that his opponents feared would transition Germany into a dictatorship, though this has as far not happened. The old man is supported by the conservatives in the Republic, and is seen as some as the last barrier between Republic and Revolution. However, he is nearly 90 years old and in failing health. It is clear that whatever direction Germany goes, he will not live to see it. Hitler, Hugenberg, and the German far right. Some people wish to categorize German politics into two camps, nationalist and anti-nationalist. The nationalist argument is based on the stab in the back myth, which holds the economic deficiencies that led to Germany's defeat in the Great War were caused by sabotage which is allegedly perpetrated by Marxists and Jews. This only serves to fuel nationalists' already established anti-Semitism. The nationalists generally want to replace the parliamentary republic, which they view as weak and controlled by Marxists and or Jews, with a dictatorial regime, and has even wished to restore the Hohenzollern monarchy, which was opposed 15 years ago. And out of all the nationalists, the most well-known is Adolf Hitler and the National Socialist German Worker Party, the NSDAP. A veteran of the Great War, he joined the German Workers' Party in Munich and soon became its leader. The failed Biederhall Putsch in Bavaria led to the arrest of the Hitlerist leadership, which in turn has helped Hitler establish a powerful personality cult, which seems to be the only thing uniting the party. The NSDAP calls for the end of the parliamentary system and to establish a National Socialist state where the Führer has absolute power. Hitler would use his power to eliminate the perceived influence of the Judo-Bolshevik saboteurs and the Jewish capitalist elites. He would then rebuild Germany's military strength in defiance of the international regulations and move to retake Germany's lost lands, as well as fighting the Poles and the USSR in order to colonize the land and to eliminate Bolshevik influence from Moscow. The other primary German nationalist organization is the German Nationalist People's Party, the DNVP, led by the virtuous nationalist Aldrich Hernberg. Like the Hitlerists, the DNVP wished to establish a far-right dictatorship, but with a few key differences. First, they wish to restore the German monarchy. Second, unlike the NSDAP's proclaimed anti-capitalist stance, the DNVP is unapologetically capitalist and support major firms. Finally, where Hitler and his group use revolutionary rhetoric, the DNVP is remarkably conservative instead. Though they only pull in about a third of the votes as Hitler does, they are still a force to be reckoned with. Thalmann and the German far left. The Communist Party of Germany, the KDP, was formed in 1918 by revolutionary socialists who broke off from the Social Democratic Party over the opposition to the imperialist war. After the failure of the November Revolution, the death of Rosa Luxemburg and Karl Liebknecht, and the victory of the Soviets in the Russian Civil War, the KDP became a pro-Soviet and pro-Stalinist organization under the leadership of Ernst Thälmann. A veteran and longtime SDP member from Hamburg, Thälmann was also the USSR's preferred KDP leader, as they made sure he remained the chairman after he was removed for covering up embezzlement. Under the direction of the Soviet-controlled Communist Internationale, the KDP is currently pursuing a policy of non-cooperation with other Marxist parties, as they are considered to be electoral competitors. This is especially refers to the SDP, who are seen as social fascists for their policies of reformism. Though opposed to the platform of the National Socialists, they both collaborate on occasion against Social Democrats. However, any overtures made to the SDP by the KDP are likewise been rejected by the SDP's right wing. Thus, the KDP has declared itself the only anti-fascist party in Germany. KDP's platform mirrors that of the Soviet Party, the All-Union Communist Party. It calls for the establishment of a Marxist-Leninist one-party state and for the nationalization of all industry. Recently, to the dismay of some KDP members and even Soviet observers, the KDP has taken an anti-Semitic and nationalist route in order to gain middle-class votes from the National Socialists, which has helped spur an internal party conflict between Thalmann and Heinz Neumann, who sees the Hitlerists as a greater threat. However, the KDP is not the only far-left movement in Germany. Parties that splintered off from the KDP include the Communist Party of Germany, opposition, a right opposition group that formed in response to the embezzlement scandal, and the Lenin League, a left opposition group that sided with the Soviet politician Gregory Zinoev, who has recently been defeated by Stalin in a power struggle. The Socialist Worker Party of Germany, the SAPD, formed as a leftist splinter group of the SDP in 1931. They support a united anti-fascist front and aim for a partially revolutionary course. Other groups include the Anarcho-Syndicalist Free Workers Union of Germany and the Council Communist German Workers' Party. Oh my god, there's so much text. This is going to be in the first like 10 minutes, so if you want to skip ahead, just do it if you don't want to read the lore. Which is, I guess, just history. It's not really lore. The SPD and the German center-left. Though the current government is made out of far-right nationalists, General Kurt von Schirner's government is, for the first time being, straddled the line between radical nationalism and far-right parliamentarianism. Though von Schirner is an authoritarian tendencies, he refuses to engage in assassination and putsch, referring to his political means to get his way. Though outwardly pro-Hitler, he wishes to use the National Socialists as a pawn in his bid to take over Germany. Though a nationalist, he is more concerned with building up the army and ending parliamentary democracy than about expansionism and anti-Semitism, thus setting him apart from the far right. However, a few center and center-adjacent parties remain, the largest being the Social Democratic Party of Germany. The SPD is a reformist Marxist party that led the revolution, that brought down the monarchy, fought the socialist revolutionaries, and ruled Germany until 1920. The party supports the gradual transition to a socialist society within the framework of liberal democracy, and thus chooses to work with the bourgeoisie parties against the far-right and far-left extremists. This has had the effect of alienating the Social Democrats with more left-wing parties. The SPD has their own factional issues. There's the left wing, which is more focused on social ideas, and a right wing, which consists of a welfare state. So the SPD's immediate right is the left liberal German state party, formerly the German Democratic Party. The DDP merged with the far-right Young German Order in 1926, leading to an electoral collapse and a resignation of the far-right members. A shell of its former self, the DSTP continues to adhere to socially liberal ideals, such as social security, the protection of democracy, encouragement of private enterprise. The party also supports the social progressivism, and as such has a base of minorities, education professionals, and some members of the middle class. You get one political power out of reading all this. Excellent. Zentrum and the German center-right. The German People's Party, the DVP, is a national liberal party that has lost most of its relevance, though it used to have Gustav Strassmann, an internationally respected Democrat. Since his death, the party has moved to the right. They seek to restore the monarchy and pursue free market policies. Finally, there's the Catholic Center Party, Zentrum. Zentrum is nominally social conservative, but has somewhat left-wing economics, with a faction of it being more accepting of the policies. Zentrum is the main center-right party and continues and supports the democratic system while opposing the SDP. It is clear that the German democracy is destroyed, that these very parties will need to set aside their differences and unite against the extremist. Okay, so we're 7.5 minutes into the episode. Turn off also Fog of War because it looks bad. So, research. We're going to go with our basics, of course. Research speed. Then we'll follow it up with... What's 1933? We've actually got like a decent amount of the technologies already done. And you're like 2 years ahead of time. Okay, you know what? You're actually pretty well researched, Germany. We'll go for the Panzer I, set that up with the 1934 artillery. And you've already got mobile warfare, which I guess kind of makes sense. You are... You know what? Let's go for the airline engine too. There's not really a lot of 1933 text for you to go with. So we'll go for these two upgrades here. Right now we have 10 divisions. We can probably just put you under one army. I guess our first invasion would probably be against Austria. Again, it kind of depends on where, like, which way we actually end up going here. Do we have no... We have no field marshals? I guess that's kind of okay. Let's go up to speed 5. We are right now at 16,731. Let's build some military factories in Berlin. And what are we missing? We're not producing anything right now, so we go 4 on rifles. We will go 1 on motorized. We'll go 1 on artillery. We have no... No, we'll go with 2 on tanks, 3 on fighters, 3 on bombers, 1 on motorcycles, and you know, let's put 1 more on tanks as well. And then dockyards, we'll build some convoys with the This is the rest of our navy here. We have no template for motorcycles. Don't worry about that. We can worry about that in the future. And get some rubber here. Okay. So now we can finally get started. At Brezhnevka. Japan's now at war. And we can't really do anything, at least at the moment. We have no national focus to actually choose from. The Enabling Act has been passed. And these will all happen when Germany, or when Hitler's actually in charge. You can, in August 1st, we can start getting this. Public works have been approved. In an effort to combat economic crisis, the Shelter Cabinet has approved today the ambitious public works program that expects to reduce unemployment rate and build some much-needed infrastructure. With this move, the deeply unpopular Chancellor is also expects to regain some popularity, but many doubt that Shelter's government will last long enough to reap the benefits of this program. So there should be an election this year, right? I believe so. I don't remember when the election of 1933 happens, but I believe there should be an election at some point. Again, we're not in any faction. We got the Soviet bloc, the Allied bloc. Promises of peace. No, we don't want to spend our political power on that. There's going to be better things for us to spend our points on in the future, for sure. A motion of no confidence. After Schilder refused to let the Reichstag go into recess, many politicians have warned that once that Parliament is reconvened on January 31st, they will start a motion of no confidence against the Chancellor. Schilder is deeply unpopular amongst the people, but he's also disliked among the politicians, as well as the National Socialists and former Chancellor Franz von Papen are working to bring him down and form their own coalition government with the DNVP. If we want to keep the cabinet afloat, we need to dissolve the Reichstag, but we need Hindenburg's approval for that. Okay, Hindenburg, are you going to dissolve the Reichstag? He's refused our request. Something unexpected has happened as President Hindenburg has refused to dissolve the Reichstag as we requested. It seems that Franz von Papen's hatred of Shelter has caught Hindenburg's ear. It is clear the President wants the Chancellor to resign. He said that Papen and Hitler have an arrangement about a coalition government, but the DNVP and more centrist parties are also potential options for the Chancellorship. So if you can go for the centrist parties, yes, we'll go for the Democratic. Did I select the Democratic? Okay, I did not even get to read that because I clicked the button too fast. With von Schimmel's resignation, President Hindenburg has issued statements denouncing Hitler, Herrenberg, and other far-right politicians, and decided to pick a new Reichsleader from one of the centrist parties. No matter who he picks, it'll definitely have a difficult time maintaining stability in the country. So we are now the Weimar Republic. And the Grand Coalition. So we think we should have a new tree now. This tree is available. So you are last chance at democracy, reform, and moderation. The Grand Coalition. President von Hindenburg has refused to allow the far-right parties to form a coalition, but has also refused to allow von Schindler to enact martial law. As such, he must rely on the Republican Party to restore order in Germany. In a rushed discussion with some legal experts, it became clear that the only Republican parties who managed to form a Grand Coalition, as they did under Hermann Muller's chancellorship, could they show a position of unity and stability. However, we still have to appoint a figure to the position of Chancellor, so that they have a mandate to form a coalition. Though the SDP is a large Republican party, they are still dangerous Marxists and cannot be given a position of leadership. Our first option is Hermann Dirks of the DSTP. Though this party is social liberal, he can appeal to SDP members and progressive intellectuals. Our second option is the National Liberal DVP, led by Julius Curtis. Appointing DVP can appeal to major industrials and give support from some modern nationalists. The third option is the influential mentor of Zürcher Party. Though he refused position in 1926, the DVP was too Prussian for him, he would be a fool to refuse again, especially against the threat of Hitlerism and Marxism. Not only would he appeal to Catholic conservatives, his interest in working with Protestant conservatives could earn him further support. Finally, we can appoint Zentrum Party leadership Ludwig Kass to the position, already compromised leader of the party. He's focused on political Catholicism and limiting the influence of Catholic trade unions. So who should we do? So, I mean, who's the biggest party right now? I mean, other than the NSDAP. Zedstrom's at 13th, SDP. There's no market liberal party in the country. Let's give it to the social liberals, because, I mean, the SDP, kind of like the centrist party here. So we are now, yeah, a social liberal party. And you guys are still unassigned. We'll assign you once again. Are you even the best leader? No. Scroll back up here, put you on the board with the Austrians. So now what do we do? Parliamentary expansionism. We have 2 seats in the coalition. Seats per ideology. Leninists have 100. Democratic Socialists have 73. National Socialists have 196. We need 292 seats to pass any laws. How Parliament works. For starters, a more in-depth explanation can be found in Progress Report 21 or subreddit. Okay, thanks. Parliament system meant to simulate the major legislative body of democratic governments. To begin the voting process, like the law in a parliamentary category, might be something called something different depending on the country, such as Senate or Reichstag, an decision tree. Okay, fair enough. Negotiating with the DVP. After the death of Gustav Strassmann, the German People's Party have moved significantly rightward, though ostensibly the Republican Party, many of its members barely accepted, and called for the restoration of the monarchy. However, if we are to secure stability in the nation, we must negotiate with their support. A few hours of negotiation have shown that the DVP still accept the terms of coalition if they are granted the foreign ministry. So, I mean, this seems fine. Liberal Conservatives will join our coalition. Negotiating with Zetrum. The Catholic Center Party is the largest center-right party in Germany. In 1932, they managed to carry on about 15% of the vote, and currently have the fourth largest amount of seats in the Reichstag. To get their support, we will need to grant them economic ministry. This is not an controversial idea. Their economic positions are somewhat leftist, though their party leader wishes to limit the power of trade unions. Then we get the meeting with the Marxist, which is... Okay, we decided that in order to secure parliamentary support from the Grand Coalition, we need to negotiate with the Social Democratic Party. Being reformist, the SDP stands against the revolutionary activities of the communists, and has thus an incentive to work with us to secure Republican stability. The relations are cordial. It is clear that we have to offer them multiple ministry positions in order to gain their support. The Ministry of Labor, Transportation, and Employment, and thus gain the trust of the working people. I mean, that seems fine. I'm hoping we don't get couped or something, but if we can get couped, then, you know... The last chance of democracy. So we're going to work... I mean, currently we're going to work with the left. So we got a coalition with the left going. More factories in Brandenburg, thank you very much. I guess we still need to get our... We don't need the explanation anymore. And we'll have to get our points back here, because we're technically a different tag. And what I'm hoping to do in this campaign is eventually join the Allies and we do like a big war against the Soviet Union. Kind of like the opposite of what we did last time. And we can't do any of you guys, not until January 1935. So let's go with... This will lock this law in the Reichstag. Sure, let's end the Camarilla. Not too sure what that actually is, but we can get maybe like a new chancellor in here. Or something to that effect. Should be okay. I wonder, like, where do we actually go with this, the Red Spectre, the Brown Spectre. Ban minor communist groups. Liberals have formed a government in Norway. You can ban the KDP, ban the NSDAP. Germany on the world stage. Our own bloc. FDR has been elected president. Denounce the Soviet Union. Defend Belgium. Ally the Baltic states. So I wonder kind of like... I have no idea how this campaign's actually going to play. Dealing with the far left. Dealing with the far right. Well, let's deal with the far left first. Because, I mean, they have decent support. I mean, getting 3% here would be nice as well. So that's going to be a little bit less support for the KDP. 7 days on you. Agreement of Reichsbanner. Anti-communist propaganda. We can disarm you. We can either disarm... So this is basically like disarming a nationalist. Okay. I mean, do I want this? I think we might want to... use their paramilitary groups, because if the KDP and the NSDAP both have paramilitaries, that could lead to us maybe getting couped in the future, which I don't think we want. So you're considered a progressive policy. Seats in coalition 230, which is not enough seats to actually win any votes. And I don't think... Does it say who would vote for this? I mean, the Nationalist... I'm assuming only people that actually want to vote with us will vote with us. Which I mean, makes sense. Also, I need to rebuild all this stuff, right? So 3 on you. 1 on support equipment. 3 on artillery. 2 on tanks. 3 on fighters. 3 on bombers. Convoys, and then we'll build some submarines. Apparently in 1936 subs as well. That's not bad. I will definitely take those. And you are welfare laws. But I'm assuming all these laws would immediately fail if we don't have like if we do not have all the votes, I'm assuming no matter what we try to pass, it will fail. Also, apparently, coalition right now is 44% popularity, which is nice. Okay, let's expand unit activity. I mean, this is the only focus rate thing we have right now, right? Yeah, because you're available in January, so we can really do these policies here. Well, let's work with them. Let's work with the Reichsbanner. I think it's going to make the most amount of sense to have them on our side. It'll be done in 10 days. Increase welfare spending. White laws are passed. I mean, I think we do want to also try to pass some militarist laws as well. So National Socialists agree to our proposal. Market Liberals agree. Revolutionary Socialists, everybody's agreeing to the proposal. So we have 532 out of 292. So everybody's. I'm glad everybody agreed to do this. So we don't need to just have people in our coalition to pass laws. Do some anti-communist propaganda. Agreement with the Reichsbanner. The Reichsbanner, Schwarz, Red, Gold is the main Republican paramilitary in Germany. Its members tend to be members of the SDP, the DSTP, and the Partei. As such, they do not need much convincing when we offer to cooperate with them against the Communists and National Socialists. They will now essentially be at the command of the Reichswehr, which allows us to circumnavigate the Versailles Treaty limitation on our army, while helping maintain stability. On both sides of the Reichstag, protests came out from the Communists and the Nationalists, as they view this as an illegal action. However, it is clear that they have begun to fear repercussions for their actions as we begin to close in. Oh, we got free units. They're probably garbage, I would say. Yeah, they're basically trash, but you know we'll keep them. We'll keep them around. But I think at least for right now, our first episode, I feel like went pretty well. We're a republic. And we'll see how we go into the future. But for right now, I think this will be a good time for us to end this episode. Thanks to everybody for watching my Anthem. If you've enjoyed, remember thumbs up. And not doing, thumbs down. You want to see more, subscribe. And goodbye.